What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers pulled off a Game 2 win, which was very impressive, right? You held a top 10 offense, I believe they're 8th overall, to under 90 points, to their worst point total of the season, and pulled out a very convincing start to finish, in control, in demand type win. I know Minnesota threw some punches and did all that stuff, right? But Lakers literally won and controlled that game start to finish. It doesn't get more dominant than that, right? Like, yeah, would I have loved them to win by 40? Sure. But Minnesota is a very good team. You knew that they were going to throw some punches. You knew that they weren't just going to lay down. And what was the closest they got? Like 9, right? Like, Lakers controlled and dominated that game. But more than anything, right, you saw the Lakers team that I believe in, subscribe to, and have all the confidence in the world to win an NBA championship. Offensively, they were not great. They couldn't hit shots, only made 6 threes, shot 20% from three-point range, right? That hurts, right? What does it look like with the effort and defensive intensity that you saw in that game with not even elite offense, just like competent offense, right? Like some guy, like a couple guys hitting threes, right? Like Lakers probably beat them by 40, right? But Lakers really struggled offensively. And I think it's a combination of things. Part of that is the Lakers have to work so hard defensively, their shot isn't falling, and so now they have to work twice as hard on the offensive side to generate offense, right? So how do you kind of offset that? Well, one, hit shots, right? Lakers start hitting shots, it changes the game entirely. 2, move the ball, right? You saw the Lakers gassed at the end of that game, right? In the fourth quarter. They were starting to get tired legs, right? Because again, this series is so physically imposing, so aggressive, right? Like they are allowed, we're essentially playing football out there, right? And then on top of that, the defensive intensity that it takes because you lack the athleticism, you lack the interior presence, right? You have a lot of holes, so Lakers have to work twice as hard defensively. So how do you kind of make things easier on your offense? You move the basketball, right? Cycle through a couple guys that have fresh late brain injury event. Maybe that's a good time to play Dalton Connect, right? For not like the whole fourth quarter, but like little stints. And just start picking apart Minnesota's defense, make them have to start working harder on the defensive side, which makes them more gas getting into the offensive side of things, right? Like start picking them apart. Don't bail them out, right? You start chucking up shots and doing all that stuff, right? You start bailing them out. Now they can kind of rest on defense because they know you're not keeping them on their toes, right? Like, Lakers have to maintain and remain aggressive, right? Need to bring that fire and intensity. But can the Lakers, and look, I talked about this going into the series, right? Like, one, the physicality of the series, which is why I didn't want to play Minnesota in the first round. I didn't mind playing Minnesota later. Wanted to kind of work through the hiccups that we needed to work through, right? Guys having a hard time hitting shots, right? Get into a rhythm. Right, you play a different team that you're not as physical. You're able to kind of get your shots off more, right? You're not exhausted because you're working twice as hard and it's twice as physical as any other matchup. Minnesota is probably the toughest, most physical matchup we'll play, right? Like there's other teams that can be physical, like OKC can be a physical team, but like they just don't have the imposing size that Minnesota does. Minnesota's a big team that's very physical. It's why teams even like Denver struggle to keep up with a team like Minnesota. Minnesota is arguably the most physical and just, imposing team in the playoffs, right? So there is an argument to be made that this matchup is really good for the Lakers because to get through that, you kind of get through what might end up being the toughest matchup, right? And then especially in the second round, because Houston and Golden State are not going to be as physically daunting and as interior dominant as, a Minnesota team will be. So you won't have to overcompensate as much, all of that. But the thing that I talked about is like, can the Lakers put together the effort we saw in game 2 4 times a series? So 16 times total. They've done it once. You have 15 more times to go. If you can do that for 15 more times, then the Lakers will be in really good shape. And I think we win the NBA championship. Lakers will hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. There is a version of this team that I said that is good enough to hoist that trophy, right? and win the NBA championship. And you saw that team last night, at least on the defense side of things. But it was also the effort and intensity and whatnot. You can win games, even in the playoffs, just by out hustling and out working the opposing team, right? Like, but you can't have lack of interior size, lack of athleticism compared to Minnesota, right? Have all of these holes, issues, and concerns, not knock down the three ball, not, be able to generate enough offense to keep you afloat, and then also get out, worked out, hustled out, rebound. You're not winning very many games that way. You're not winning any games that way, right? So Lakers have to, bare minimum, maintain the effort and intensity that you saw in that game 2. They need to continue to push and press and do those things in that series and beyond, right? That version of the Lakers we saw in game 2 is winning the NBA championship because I trust their offense to be better as, they start getting in a rhythm as this series progresses and as the playoffs progress. But the team in game 1 is probably lose. That team might still be good enough to beat Minnesota because Minnesota's probably not making 21 threes, but they're not beating Boston. They're not beating the Cavs. They're not beating OKC. They might not even beat the Warriors playing that way because Warriors will hit 21 threes a game, right? So Lakers need to bring that effort that we saw in game 2 on a regular basis. That was the Lakers that I have all the confidence in the world in. That was the Lakers that I look at and go, nobody is beating that team. Lakers will win the championship if that team shows up 4 times a series. We need that team 15 more times, and the Lakers will win the championship. But can they maintain it, right? Can they keep that up? Again, I do think, particularly the second round, I do think will be a lot easier for the Lakers. Just more, both Houston and the Warriors are much more favorable matchups for the Lakers. So I just think it puts the Lakers in a much better position. But, you still need to bring that effort and intensity. We still need to see top peak premier Lakers that we know and love, and the defense, and LeBron being the anchor, and Austin Reeves being aggressive, and Luka hitting shots, and LeBron hitting shots, and Dorian Finney-Smith, and Gabe Vincent, and all these guys just being able to consistently play both sides of the basketball. If we get that, then I have all the confidence in the world that the Lakers win the NBA championship. So here we go, right? Time to lock in. Now you got 3 more wins this series, and then, at that point, 12 wins overall. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. As always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on you. I agree, disagree, mix in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, let me know. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.